Boy, I guess one thing, I'm definitely going out on a limb with this one, ain't I? All right, men, I kind of wonder nowadays what type of support groups, relationship groups, or groups men involved with nowadays. It just simply don't make any sense to me whatsoever at all. It's nonsensical. But you can tell that the majority of the men today are not literally raised by men. I mean, let's just be for real. All right. When we look at the moral decay, the spiritual bankruptcy, and the decadence of this society right here that we live in, there ain't too much hope. And unless a man hears another man, a real man, I'm not talking about people who are males. I'm talking about men. All hope is literally lost. You know, we live in a world that the laws of this land support female authority in a big way, not only through the court system, but actually in the home. As a matter of fact, this society actually really truly believes that the woman is the boss in the house. And of course, that totally goes against the construct of the scriptures. It definitely does. I'm personally proud to know that there's this group out there called MGTOW. Not the fact that I agree with them on every single thing, because, you know, nobody's going to agree with everybody on every single thing. But I really, truly think that in principle, they are actually doing a justice towards the male species. And the reason why I say that is because they are actually opening up the comprehension and the understanding of what's really, truly going on in this world. You know, your first big mistake out there, men, is if you actually go out there and get a state marriage license, you've already done lost. You might as well just go ahead and sign over your life. Just go ahead and give it up. Because the state does not support you. And a lot of people don't tell you, first of all, from ignorance, they don't know. But every guidance counselor, every principal, everybody in the public form of education, they know, including your senators, your so-called representatives, they all know that while you may put your seed into a woman and have your baby, I'm going to state that again, your baby. And if you are thinking about a woman to actually settle down with, and she doesn't understand the fact that that is your child, hit the road and run. Hit the road and run, because I promise you, the way the state is going to treat it, they're going to treat the child as theirs. You see, there are terms and conditions that are literally not disclosed to you as a man in this society. It's like when you go get a marriage license, all you see is a piece of paper. But behind that piece of paper, there are bondages. There are legalese. There are things that will bind you. Matter of fact, did you know that marriage is the most expensive contract that a man will ever enter into in his whole entire life? See, the state, the way it sees it, because remember, you know, a lot of people go out here and they lie. And they say, you know, especially these 501c3 churches, they lie and say, what God has joined together, let no man asunder. Okay, let's just test that both. Let's just see if God did join you together. Because your preacher, when he performs your marriage ceremony, when you give him that certificate that you went and paid, and I'm going to put emphasis on that, you went and paid to get permission to get married to a woman, which I might add that you could probably end up getting the same benefits without being in bondage to the government or the state. That preacher's going to say, by the power invested in me by the state of. What the hell does state got to do with anything since God joined us together? Huh? See, this is called self-autonomy. This is called what people don't comprehend and understand. All right, follow me? And it doesn't benefit society, because see, as long as we can keep you second-class wage earners out here busting your rear end and giving over everything to the government, because the woman is ultimately is going to submit to her authority, which is the government. And the government will always side with the woman. Unless she is a meth head or crackhead or mentally done gone off her mind and been diagnosed, they will always, 100% of the time, side with the woman. So you go get that state marriage license, and you swear up and down with the schizophrenic mindset that you have just got finished, been joined under God. Then where does the state come in? I mean, why they got their little grubby hands, stuck out there? Well, there's a reason for it. It's called bondage. It's called slavery. And I might add to you that it's an invalid contract whenever the terms and the conditions of those contracts are not really disclosed to you. You see, when you go out and you contract with this state right here, you're putting yourself into a situation, because see, the women out here, they already know, well, unless I need something to bind him by, I need something, because your word ain't worth a damn. That's basically what she's saying. She's basically saying that your word is not worth a damn. So she doesn't feel secure unless she can have the force and security of the state to actually back her up. I've seen men, if I've seen it once, I've seen it 1,000 times over the years, that men who have come back to Pastor Dowell and said, I wish I would have listened. That's not including the men who just did everything the traditional way. Doing things the traditional way would definitely, not only would it get you in trouble with the creator of the universe, but it's going to get you in trouble with the state. That's why you have to opt out of it, because the penalties and the levies and the fines that could be charged against you is a whole lot cheaper if you just do things the way, if you knew how to do it, and you don't know how to do it because you got these emasculated men that are in so-called positions of authority that's more effeminate than the actual females, who actually coaching them to how to manipulate and coerce and dominate you. That's just the truth. That's just a hard fact. But when you think about this, you go out there and you contract, the state does not ever believe that your seed belongs to you. You don't believe me? Go. I dare you to go check it out. That's the reason why when you put your children in a public food system, that's the reason why that when you go up there and do your little murmuring and complaining, when they vaccinate your children without your consent, when they shoot your children up with snake venom and monkeypox without your consent, when they give them drugs without your consent, you can go up there and scream and holler all you want, but you better stay in your place. And you know the reason why? Because you see, through that marriage license and that birth certificate, you've already done contracted with them. Those children, without you knowing, ignorance, and mind you, ignorance of the law is no excuse. They are actually the children belongs to the state. I dare you to get a hold of one of your so-called representatives and ask them if that's true. Go ask a guidance counselor. Go ask a guidance counselor, what does it mean to be a ward of the state? So then what happens? Well, you've all been deceived into actually going out and sending your children to public school. What is the state doing? Well, they're educating the children, their children, at your expense. Think about that for a second. Because does not the book teach you to train up a child in the way that it should go? And see, women, they know that they have the upper hand in this society right here. They know they got the upper hand in this society. All right? And movements like MGTOW is gaining in popularity. I mean, MGTOW is telling me in this: if you're going to saddle up with a woman, okay, I'm going to give you some actual warning signs. This is what MGTOW says. MGTOW says, whatever you do, don't join to these type of women. Do not go out and get a single mother. Do not go out and get an overweight woman. And do not go out and get a woman that is a college liability. First thing do, the women start screaming and hollering, look at these chauvinist pigs. But then the women, on the other hand, they'll turn around and tell you, don't you go out and get a lazy man that don't make at least 6 figures, who ain't at least 6 feet tall, and I'm gonna leave it at that. And they got their own, little benchmarks. They got their own little standards that they have for men that they don't disclose to you. But I'm telling you, you continue to keep participating in this wicked world, in this society, you deserve exactly what you get. Don't just sit up and passively exclude the information that we give you. And then in the end, you're going to find yourself broke, living in a tiny home, barely able to make ends meet, because if you don't pay that child support for the state's children, they're going to lock you up in a state prison. That's motivation to keep you paying the child support. It doesn't make any sense to me, because if you're not paying the child support now, and if they lock you up, you still ain't going to be able to pay child support. So the woman, in essence, is still going to end up getting money from daddy or father, which is the state. Man, you better wake up real quick, because this game, and a lot of men are waking up, this gig is over with. Men, you had better learn how to stop seeking approval of the woman. You better stop it. But hey, you don't have to. Go out there and experience the pain of it. Come back and give us a testimony later.